Yo, what up, y'all? This is Kevin Kinckle from the Kevin Kinckle podcast. Saturday, January 7th, about 12:30 in the afternoon. This is the last week of the regular season in the NFL. I thank y'all for spending this season with me, and I appreciate it. The Damar Hamlin situation is looking on the up. He is awake. They took the breathing tube out of his mouth. My boy breathing. That's big. NFL decided to cancel that game between Cincinnati and Buffalo. They both made it to the playoffs already, so it didn't really matter what's going on with that. But it is going to matter as far as the seeding. I believe if Kansas City Chiefs win, they are the number one seed. If Buffalo wins and Kansas City loses, they're the number one seed. And in the playoffs, if it gets deep into the playoffs, there will be some implications on where the game is going to be played. If the AFC Championship is a Buffalo versus KC or Cincinnati. Other than that, everything is just pretty much shifted and going into this last week of the season. My dad, like I told y'all before, is smoking me 124 to 117. He is going to win for the picks for the year. We had fun doing that. Let's go over these games. Some got playoff implications, some don't. It's kind of dope because there's two games on Saturday. The first game, Jacksonville versus Tennessee. The winner will win their division and make it to the playoffs with the number 4 seed in the AFC. And the second game, Kansas City versus the Raiders. If Kansas City wins, they're the number 1 seed. I know Sunday nights, the game is Detroit versus Green Bay. Winner goes to the playoff, loser goes home. So this is where the season really starts getting good. First game on that slate, the one that I just told you about. Matter of fact, Kansas City's playing first. Kansas City at Vegas. Me and my pop both picked KC. I just told y'all I was going to go down in that one. If Kansas City wins, they're the number 1 seed. Vegas is already out of it. They're just playing for respect. Tennessee versus Jacksonville. If Jacksonville wins, they're in it. If Tennessee wins, they're in it. Flat out, point blank, period. This is when the season gets real good. Both of us got Jacksonville on the win. Jacksonville started out the season 3-7. They thought it was going to be another flop year. Trevor Lawrence stepped it up. He really got focused mentally, and he stepped his game up. Tennessee's been on a losing skid. Crazy. I think they lost the last 6 games. We both picked Jacksonville. The Cleveland Browns versus Steelers. The Browns are out of it. The Steelers have an outside shot of being a wild card at 8-8. We both picked the Steelers. The Bengals versus the Ravens. Everything is set in stone for, I believe, both of them. The Bengals are the winner of their division. The Ravens are 10-6. I'm not sure if Lamar Jackson is playing. In the beginning of the year, I told you the risk Lamar Jackson was putting up by getting hurt, wanting to get that Deshaun Watson money, that $250 million for 5 years. I don't know if he's going to be able to get that now because his durability is in question. I picked the Bengals. My pop picked the Ravens. That's one of our differences. Vikings versus Bears. The Vikings is in the playoffs. They believe they have the number 2 seed locked down. The Bears are out of it. They're just playing, I guess, for a fun game. A lot of guys who usually don't get playing time will probably play for the Vikings and the Bears. We both picked the Vikings on that one. The Bills, if they win and KC loses, they could have number 1 seed in the AFC. The Patriots are fighting for a wild card spot. That's going to be a decent game. We both picked the Bills. The Texans versus the Colts. 2 of the worst teams in the league. I picked the Texans. They're 2-13-1. The Colts are 4-11-1. My pop picked the Colts. The Dolphins versus the Jets. The Dolphins been on a losing skid. The Jets don't have any playoff implications at 7-9. The Dolphins, like the Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers, are fighting for that last wild card spot. They are 8-8. We both picked the Dolphins. The Dolphins lost like the last 5 games. Their starting quarterback and their backup quarterback was hurt. They do have good receivers and a good running back. It's going to be interesting to see if they could squeak it out versus the Jets, who have been on the downside of their games too. The Dolphins are 8-8. The Jets are 7-9. We both picked the Dolphins in a win. The Panthers versus the Saints, they're both out of it. The Saints are 7-9, and the Panthers are 6-10. Eagles versus the Giants. Eagles are 13-3. Giants are 9-6-1. If the Eagles win, they're number one in their division. If the Giants are already in the playoffs. Giants aren't really playing for anything, so I say the Eagles win because of that. Eagles are trying to get number one. Giants are they're set where they're going to be at for the playoffs. Dallas is also fighting for that number one spot. Dallas is 12-4. Washington is 7-8. If Dallas wins, Eagles lose, Dallas gets that number one spot. Oof, in the division. That's tough. Come on, Eagles. But yeah, the Eagles are without Jalen Hurts. We're not sure if he's going to play. We are not sure. We'll be keeping updated on. But yeah, so the Cowboys are at Washington. Washington's out of it. They had a chance to try to make it for the wild card last week, but that loss put them out. The Chargers versus the Broncos. The Chargers solidify the wild card spot. The Broncos at 4-12 are out of it. No implications on this game. We both picked the Chargers. The Seahawks are fighting for a wild card spot. They're playing the Rams. We both picked the Seahawks. Their Seahawks are 8-8. Rams are 5-11. Cardinals versus the 49ers. 49ers are 12-4. Cardinals are 4-12. The 49ers are already in the playoffs. They're not really playing for anything. We both picked the 49ers. And then the last game of the week, the Lions and the Packers. The Lions are 8-8. The Packers are 8-8. Whoever wins goes to the next round of the playoff.